Welcome to the program, Melinda Smith, of course, a financial abundance coach, always giving us some insight and some tips and do's and don'ts in the world of finances, and a very interesting topic we've got lined up today, Linda.
Yes. Today we're going to be talking about the, creating your financial blueprint for abundance.
What exactly is it? What does it mean to create a financial abundance blueprint?
Yes, and you might say it's a very fancy way of talking about doing a budget. So, just to clarify that, creating a financial blueprint is an essential part of anybody's money management. And the reason I like to even call it a financial blueprint is that, there really needs to be that thought and that creativity brought into it. Because so often when one talks about budgeting, and even using that word, people are not necessarily either happy about budgeting, that it occurs for them as being quite a chore, but it also, sometimes from their experience, they'll report that, it just doesn't work. And when I say it doesn't work, meaning that, they might write out a list of expenses and they have a plan, but when they compare that plan to what actually happens, it's not the same. And, there'll be those unexpected expenses, and I'm sure most of your listeners can relate to that. There's always something that's costing a bit more, or maybe there's an expense that was unexpected completely, and so now that gets factored in, and now the budget's not working. So for a lot of people, budgeting just, people even just give up on it, with the understanding or the feeling that it doesn't work. Other people will go as far as to say, I don't earn enough to do a budget. Or I even know where my money goes, so there's no point in writing it down. So when I talk about creating your financial blueprint for abundance, I am talking about budgeting on the one hand, but it's to also expand it further. And what I mean by that is to literally create what I call your ideal spending plan. And what that might look like is, and in fact there are templates for this in the abundance diaries that that are out there that we've chatted about before. By creating an ideal spending plan, what that allows a person to do is to actually tabulate where would you ideally like your money to be going. Because very often it's going where it's going, but maybe people are not finding that they've got money left for building up something for the holiday fund. Or even as we spoke about, when we started these conversations in December, come Christmas time, people will want to have a Christmas fund. So by creating what I call your financial blueprint, it means factoring in these things that you may not necessarily be factoring in at this point. And by doing it, one might say, okay, well, what's the point of doing that? Because once I've listed all those things that I'd like to be paying money towards, I just don't have enough money to cover all that. So that might be the case, right now. But what this financial blueprint does create for a person is it creates something that you are then working towards. So you're creating a future towards which you work. And it really helps people to become way more mindful about where their money is actually going. But also opportunities might show up, as we've chatted before about, where you might be able to generate some extra income. And when you do generate that extra income, you now know where it's going to go. It doesn't just kind of disappear, as money can often do. So the financial blueprint is literally about creating, your ideal future. And in fact, I even like to compare it to the work that, an architect does. They create blueprints. They create plans for that home of your dreams. Nobody arrives at a plot of ground with some bricks and says, let's get started. There's a serious amount of planning and precision even that's brought into creating a blueprint for your home. So what I'm talking about here is creating a blueprint for your finances. And it's an exercise that, people can do it on their own, but of course, this is also where I offer my workshops and my coaching, where I actually help people to create their financial blueprint so that they can step into the world of taking back the control or certainly back the power around their money and starting to operate with a much more abundant mindset. So how does that sound so far? Quentin.
Very interesting, I must tell you. Please, continue.
Any questions at this point?
Well, you know what? You made a very interesting point earlier. A lot of people, they get to a point in their life, especially come month end, I beg your pardon, they kind of at a point where they know exactly where their money is going. You find yourself in a situation where you have got to do this on the spur of the moment. Hey, I've got to pay this real quick. Or somebody gives you a call and say, hey, we're still waiting for you to make payment, and you go off and you make a payment, and you haven't consulted your plan, your budget plan, because in our minds we know we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do the other. So like you rightfully say, a lot of people have given up on budget planning, but you want to urge people that the best thing you can do is to actually plan ahead.
That's exactly it. It really, truly is. One of the things that it provides is a very clear structure. Mm-hmm. It helps you in your decision making going forward. That you have a clear, or you have clarity as to what you can say yes to and commit to, and what you actually should be saying no to. In fact, one of the phrases that one of my clients coined out of attending the workshops that she found to be very, very empowering when it came to maybe being invited out to something by friends, and you want to go, but you just don't have the money right now. But you don't want to be like, oh, poor me, and I don't have the money, and it sounds like such a sad story. The phrase that she coined, which is just fabulous, was, like somebody will invite you, you'll be like, okay, let me have a look, and you'll refer to your budget, and the phrase that she coined was, it's not in my budget right now. And it's such a simple statement, it's not in my budget right now. But she found in saying it, on the one hand, she didn't feel so emotional and so sort of poor me about it, but people also got it. And people actually were inspired to hear her asserting her boundaries of, it's not in my budget right now. Now, that doesn't mean it's going to never be in your budget. It just means it's not in your budget right now. And in fact, even with one's children sometimes, it's a very empowering way to speak, because I think with children it's so detrimental even in the end when parents tend to say, well, we don't have the money, or don't ask us for that because we don't earn that sort of money, or, there's all these different phrases that people hear about. One client shared with me once saying, her dad used to say, who do you think I am? Or I'm not Rockefeller, I'm the other fella. It's these statements that leave perhaps these children feeling even quite insecure about money, and how financially strong the family might or might not be. So to say it's not in my budget right now, it's being honest, and it's being assertive, and it's being truthful, but at the same time, it's not going into that victim space. It's not going into the poor me, I don't earn enough, I'm struggling so much, which, really, nobody wants to be there.
Mm. I wish we had more time. This is such an interesting conversation, but our time unfortunately is up. If people want to get more, read more, learn more about the topic, how do they reach you? Of course, you also have
my website is lindiary, that's LINDIARY.com, or they can email me, and that's at Linda, LINDA, @lindiary.com.
You also have a diary out that assists people.
That's correct. We do. It's called Linda's Abundance Diary, and it's got the templates to help people with their spending plans. It's got templates to help them even track their day-to-day spending, because I can tell you that people spend, I find, a lot more on a day-to-day basis than what they realize, and that is a tremendously powerful exercise to actually do, even just for a few months, just to kind of get a grip on what's going on around your money. And then there's also even an income projection template, so one can start to speculate on where the money is coming from and start to grow and expand one's income flow, and bring a real level of creativity to it. And on a daily basis, there's a little section about your gratitudes, and I think focusing on what we're grateful for every day is a very powerful way to complete a day. So there's a lot of things inside of it, so if anybody's looking to be inspired and get their finances in order, then the Abundance Diary will certainly support them in that journey.
Right, so you can go to lindiary.com for any further details. Linda, as always, it's been inspiring, encouraging, and very informative. I thank you so very kindly for your time, and I look forward to our next conversation come Thursday afternoon.
Wonderful. My pleasure, Quentin.
You have a good afternoon now.
Thank you.
Take
and you
care.
too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.